Avatar 2 is continuing to make me happy, to be frank. It has passed $1.4 billion globally, and it's kind of funny because when this film was first shown, it was made to seem like it was going to fail. You had so many people saying like it looks boring just like the first one. The only thing good is the CGI. And then you also had the boycotts happening when the film first released, which did absolutely nothing at all. Which shows you that if a film has a strong message that families resonate with, and Avatar 2 having the message of a father protecting his family, then people will go out and see it. Just like Top Gun Maverick having broken many box office records. And I just hope that this film continues seeing success and that it is on its way to $2 billion. I would have never expected that, but it is going to probably hit that 2 billion within the next 3-4 weeks, maybe 5. I don't know, but it will hit that 2 billion. I just have a good feeling about it. If it's already past 1.4 billion, and we'll see what the box office numbers for this past weekend, it is looking to be good. Before the release of Avatar: The Way of Water, director James Cameron stated that they'd know if the film was only hit only by the third weekend. You're not going to know by the first weekend, he told Hollywood Reporter. Titanic didn't work that way, Avatar didn't work that way, and he was right. Both those movies were written off prior to release, and they relatively muted openings didn't quite instill confidence. But they wanted to become all-time blockbusters, cementing Cameron as the undisputed king of the box office. And those films succeeded because their week-to-week box office drop-offs weren't dropped heavily. Very small percentages from week to week, or even sometimes breaking even and even making money. And in this case, Avatar 2, with its third weekend, made extra money, as you can see right here. With 444 million at the domestic box office and 956 million from overseas markets, The Way of Water global haul now sits at a staggering $1.401 billion. The film actually showed a 6% improvement, so it's making an extra 6% of revenue over the previous weekend with $66.8 million as compared to the $63.3 million that it made in its sophomore weekend. Honestly, it could have, the winter storms that were taking place during that weekend definitely affected it. It could have been a lot more, but those are numbers that we have, and that's what we're going to have to stick with. Cameron was right. His movies tend to chart their own unique paths at the box office. In an era where big tent poles are almost front-loaded, The Way of Water simply refuses to drop. This can be attributed to a complete lack of competition, but also the fact that the movie, like most of Cameron movies, has repeat value. Correct, it has a good story and messaging. It doesn't have some terrible messaging that they're trying to shove down your throat. And I keep finding if a film is good, those audiences that went out the first, second week, they will go and tell them, their friends that haven't seen it or other family members that haven't seen it to go and check it out. And most likely, some of those people will go out and see it, which is why we're seeing hardly to little no drop-offs from week to week for Avatar 2. But will it break Avatar 1's box office? The chances of Way of Water hitting those figures are slim. And we're talking about Avatar 1 hitting 2.9 billion globally. Recent projections put the film's final global gross between 1.6 billion and 1.9 billion. This should put it above Top Gun Maverick's 1.48 billion haul and making it its biggest film of 2022, but also earning it a spot on the top 10 all-time list if it manages to top $1.9 billion. It'll overtake Spider-Man No Way Home as the highest grossing movie of the pandemic era. Cameron also declared that The Way of Water would have to finish as the third or fourth biggest movie in history to break even, implying that anything below 2 billion globally would be a matter of concern for the franchise's future. But that is not the case. There was a little clip of James Cameron surfacing, pretty much him readjusting the figure to $1.5 billion, which is the break-even point, saying that he was wrong with his first uh, measurement for how much Avatar 2 is supposed to make. And most of this cost is obviously the technology itself being revolutionized and made throughout the decade plus of these films being made and filmed. It's mostly been already front loaded into Avatar 2. That's what I'm thinking also with Avatar 3, that most of that budget, with especially technology wise, is front loaded into Avatar 2 to make it seem like it is a lot higher compared to what it probably most likely isn't. At least that's what I think. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on this, and I hope you subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.